Welcome to Fearless Females, where ambition meets resilience. Meet your guide, Lorie Jones, owner of Fearless Financial Advisors. Join her and remarkable women executives as they uncover the triumphs and transformative moments shaping extraordinary careers. Ready to be fearless? Let the journey begin.
Good morning. I'm so excited to see all of you here again today. And we're talking today with Colleen Bowler, and she used to be a financial planner. So you know, of course, that I'm going to love this because another woman in finance is super exciting, if you ask me. But she kind of noticed that there was sort of a deficiency in financial planning. And that is, we are really, really good as financial planners about spreadsheets and financial plans, and there's some graphs involved, and there's more spreadsheets, and I can't even tell you how much data. But what gets forgotten a lot of the time by many financial advisors is the actual people. You know, the idea of like your plan should reflect your life. It should reflect your values. It should be about you. It should be something that when I look at your financial plan, I see you in there. I see the things you love. I see the people you love. I see the life you want to live rather than spreadsheets and data and charts and graphs, because I can craft the best financial plan in the whole wide world. And if it doesn't reflect who you are, it's not going to work because you're not going to follow it, right? And so Colleen kind of took this idea and did some fintech around it, put quiz, and kind of got to some of those deeper questions that really get to the heart of who you are and what you want out of life. People ask what I do, for a living, and I tell them I help make people's dreams come true. And that is true. Like your dreams, your values, the things that you want out of life, we sit down and craft a financial plan so that you can help make those dreams come true. It just takes planning and work. But if you don't start out with the right questions to ask, like you're never going to get there. So that is a long-winded way of saying that I'm really excited about my conversation with Colleen today. I hope you'll enjoy it too. Let's get started. Good morning, Fearless Females. I am so excited you've joined us again today. We've got Colleen Bowler. She is the co-founder of C&J Innovations, and I'm looking forward to hearing your journey and your story. Thank you so much for joining us today, Colleen.
Oh, Lorie, my pleasure. My pleasure. I love listening to the podcast and hearing the stories.
Oh, that makes me so happy. I love that. I love giving you the stories. So this is the best.
There you go.
Tell me, I'm a reader. My first question is always, what's your favorite book? I've got a stack, but I always want another one.
I've got a stack too. I think my bed is going to be surrounded pretty soon. I would say my favorite all-time book is Bel Canto by Ann Patchett. She is such a delicious writer. I mean, any of her books, but that's the one that just really touched my heart. She's got a bookstore in Nashville now, and I joined her book club because it's just so fun to see what other people are reading and what they're recommending. Mm-hmm. And then I think a book that really business-wise can change everything is a book called Tiny Habits by BJ Fogg. And it is about, I think the latest studies say about 45% of what we do daily is habitual. So if we can change those habits, and he is a PhD, wicked smart, all kinds of data about how to change those habits a little bit at a time that then creates that life that you want. So I think Tiny Habits, or the TED Talk that he did, is on the business side.
Oh, that's a really good idea. And I know they've come out with a couple recently, like Atomic Habits and The Slight Edge and like all of those. And I love that idea of like consistency has got to be one of my superpowers. Like doing Yeah, like just doing that same thing until you get in the habit of doing it. So you could build really great things just doing a little tiny change every day. So I love that idea.
Yeah, there is this Aristotelian quote. There's a little book that I did years ago called Generous Kids, and we put a bunch of quotes in there. And one of them says, "We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit." And it gives me such grace to know that I can become excellent just by tweaking little habits, right? It's a habit, just like you said. And I love it that you're so process driven. I wish I was.
Well, I'm always a work in progress, like still learning, still growing, still finding those things that I can do better. But I am really consistent at trying to do that. So I love that.
Oh,
so
tell
me a little bit about yourself. Tell me about your journey. How did you get started? What do you do today? Just a little bit about you.
Okay. So my journey probably has like 3 steps or 3 big pieces. I think the first piece was background story. I grew up in a family of 6 kids where I just thought we were fine. And my mom had this abundance mindset. And, abundance mindset and powdered skim milk and discount grocery stores. But there was always room at the table for 1 or 2 other people, our friends. When I was 16, my dad suddenly died. And it's when I learned that we had $187 in the bank. So while I might not have felt poor, I never felt poor from that abundance. What we ended up with is a lot of grit and a lot of resourcefulness and a lot of gratitude and love for each other in our lives. But there was no plan. There was no college fund. There was no one there to support my mom in such a difficult time. And looking back, that was probably my first lesson on what happens when families don't have real financial guidance that they need. So that probably is a pretty big part of my journey. The second part finds me not where I thought I'd be, in the middle of a divorce with a sick 3-year-old and ending up with full custody, buried under a pile of debt that wasn't mine. And I ended up realizing I needed a new job, right? I needed a lot of flexibility. And someone said, "Hey, Colleen, you're really good at math. Why don't you do this thing called financial planning?" Which I'd never really heard of. What I realized in the first couple of years, math matters. Absolutely, math matters in our job. But I quickly realized that it wasn't just about the numbers. It was really about the questions that you asked and the relationships that you build. So curiosity became, we were talking earlier about superpowers. I think that became my superpowers, or I call it my magic or my gift.
Yeah.
Just asking powerful questions, not having to have the answers, right? Just really trying to find out where someone wanted to go in their future and then overlapping planning into that. So I started that first year, $14,000 in income, qualified for earned income credit, nothing that I'm proud of, but I wouldn't suggest that's how you start now because I started independently. And I built my firm, I sold it in 2020 to $500 million of AUM. We did full financial planning. We were in the top 1%. And probably the last 10 years, I worked maybe 50% of the time. So I was really able to leverage and to learn from those clients, from team, from everyone around me. And then I think the third part of the journey, as I'm going along and listening to these stories and having, here's the plan, I realized the industry had a lot of tools on the financial planning and the resources for the financial side, but little to nothing on the human side, and I was seeing that the human side was really what drove actually every financial decision, any big decision a client was making, was that human side. So while my own process took years, it took hours, took years of listening and learning, I decided that I had done a lot of speaking with advisors. I decided to sell my firm and co-founded C&J to create a human side process, a way to scale easily and repeatably the curious part, the connection part, so advisors can get to the heart of what really matters to them and what's important to them in 5 minutes or less, creating impact that lasts generations.
Oh, yeah. And I see that with like my own clients. Like I am so involved in understanding what they want and how they, how to help them get there, because it a lot of times you can feel unseen and unheard in a financial situation. And I come from a place of like helping empower women, and women a lot of times do feel like they are unseen and unheard in those offices, and giving them a chance to feel like what their voice matters and what they're saying matters. I love that. And how do you do that?
Well, through our quick 5-minute assessments, and both the husband and the wife take it, or partners. And no matter what, the two people, I always say there is a quieter voice in the conversation. And yes, do we know that probably 80% of the time it is the woman that's the quieter voice? But sometimes it's the man. And so having the assessments that they both take on, it's on mindsets, what's most important to them, the advisor is able to quickly and easily say, oh, Lorie, you're a 6 on where you are right now, but, he says he's a 12. And it's the same, help me understand this, right? So it is an easy way to let the quieter voice in the conversation come forward.
Yeah, I like that. And yeah, to your point, like I work with women whose husbands are like, yeah, I'm not so interested in all that finance goobly-goo that you're talking about.
We know it's usually divide and conquer, right? But in a plan, even if you divide and conquer, we need to weave each other into the plan, or else the current stat is 70% of widows leave their current advisor. I just went through that with one of my best friends. It is a horrible time. And to not feel the support of your financial advisor.
Yeah.
I just couldn't believe it. And she had 4 different, they said they were financial advisors. They were investment guys.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important that we as advisors pay attention on both sides.
Yeah. So did you have to learn like a whole new skill set? Is this like a tech, like you had to program things? Like, tell me about this.
It is tech, Lorie. And the interesting thing about me, I managed to have $1 billion of assets. We did all these incredible plans. We had all these incredible clients and families under management, and I don't know how to do Excel. And if you said, Colleen, I'll give you $1 million to put the e-money thing, I have no idea, right? It is my way of staying on my side of the line. So our co-founder, Jeannie Hurlbert, is a PhD, and her specialty is in creating assessments that live and breathe and are not, I don't even know all the words, negative this or, I don't even know. But what I do know is when they take the assessments, like I said, it's 5 minutes, there's actions. I don't know about you. Have you ever been taking an assessment and they're like, okay, just wait and you'll get it. And, and I'm like, no, I want it. I want to see it. So they get, Yeah, like right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they get to see it on the screen and they get to see actions and things. So anyway, it's all created so that the advisor it's white labeled for them on their website. It's all created so the advisor's the hero. Because that's truly who the advisor is in most real financial planning. I mean, there's a time in my career that I had to ask some of my best clients why they weren't referring anybody. And they're like, oh, we tell everybody about you all the time. You're our friend. I'm like, yeah. It is true, I am, but I'm also, yeah. So it is that part that advisors do so well. The numbers, when people talk about AI in this industry, I'm not worried about it, because what you do so well, what good advisors do so well, is be in the middle of conversations like blended families, like widows, like, do we put money for college or do we put it into retirement? AI is never going to replace that. And it's going to help. Advisors right now supposedly spend 60% of their time doing company work, office work, right? Just think if you could free up 20% more to talk to people.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Build relationships. So
Connection.
That's my goal. That's my goal, is to get advisors away from all the office and into the relationship.
I love that. Colleen, what is the best investment along this road that you've made in yourself? You say, like, very few people. I haven't met one yet that is like, 5 years old, is like, gosh, I want to grow up and be a financial advisor.
Yeah, neither am I. Yeah.
So what's the best investment you've made over this journey? Is there something that you can say that, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I did that. It got me where I'm at today?
Well, I think the best investment in a big scale is learning. I think learning. And for me, originally, it was the CFP. I saw that was something that would give me credibility, that would increase my knowledge exponentially. I mean, I spent a lot of time with my son playing in the balls at McDonald's and Chuck E. Cheese while I studied for my CFP. And then we have so much wonderful continuing ed information in the industry. I didn't want to become an expert in advanced estate planning, but I needed to know enough to open more questions. I think now in this industry, podcasts like this are fabulous. I think reading is fabulous. I think, we talked about tiny habits. When I was about 15 years in the industry, I joined an organization called Strategic Coach, a coaching program for entrepreneurs, because I had reached a level of complexity in the business that I kept trying to do it all myself. And so you have to write a big check for that. So when I think about investments, I think it's really about investments in me. Team members are some of the best investments I've made, freeing up my time to do more things that I love to do. So I think it's learning all over, and resources.
I think that's really interesting that you couch that learning in with, like, learning the business, with Strategic Coach, learning how to do entrepreneurialism and how to do a business, learning maybe how to lead people in the HR sense. I think that those things, you think that investing in yourself just means like, well, I've got my certified financial planner designation, I've got all these letters behind my name, but really you also need to understand, like, how to work with people better, how to guide, how to lead.
And some of my best conversations with clients that were the stickiest were conversations about health, were conversations about kids, were things that I wove in from the learning that I had. There is a great podcaster that has a NPR thing. Her name is Kelly Corrigan. And on one of the podcasts, just a little mic drop was maybe our greatest sense of agency is deciding what to feast on. Our greatest sense of agency is deciding what to feast on. So in my firm, what was I feasting on, right? Was I feasting on building a leadership team, reading, podcasts, food. What am I doing for food? What am I doing for exercise, right? We have a lot of agency. It's how are we doing that? So I think those investments in learning those things, from where I came from, I didn't really understand agency to now.
I like that idea of agency, and I think I use the word freedom a lot to say you got
freedom.
like a freedom of choice and freedom of time freedom sometimes to choose to focus on different things. I like that idea.
Yes, and freedom to let go of clients that aren't good, right fits.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Best for you and for them. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, Lorie.
What is the worst advice you've gotten? Like, can you think of some time along your journey where you've just gotten some really bad advice? And I'm always curious, not only like, what's the bad advice, but did you take it or did you not take it? Did you learn from it?
I had so many times where men in my career said I should just go take care of my child, which A, was stupid because I needed to have an income. But B, the other thing that they would say is, you just need to buck it up and play the game. At that time when I started, there were 15% women. So especially as I got higher and higher and was more and more successful, I might be in a room of 100 people with 4 women. So the buck it up and play the game, I just put my head down and worked and went to my son's school during the middle of the day. That 24/7 thing just was not how I chose to create my business. So I didn't listen. And I think the other thing is I had to choose. Those who played the game got to go and do these events or, go to the Masters or do it. I didn't get that. And I just I could either be sad, once again, agency about it, feel left out, or just put my head down, ask more client questions and be happy where I was. So.
Well, and it sounds like if you said a $500 million industry, right? You were really successful.
Yeah. I was very successful. Yeah. And the last 10 years working 50% time. So I was really able to build a fabulous team. When people hear that, they're like, oh, you didn't take care of your client. No, we took great care of our clients. It just didn't have to be me.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
What about maybe not a regret, but a situation that you would have handled differently? If you could go back and replay a situation, knowing what you know now, is there something that you would go back and do differently?
Lorie, I really try not to replay those things. I have this motto, we all make mistakes, right? Especially when we're learning. And it's miss with a hyphen takes. Mistakes. My team made mistakes. I made mistakes. Clients made mistakes. If we do it repeatedly, we have a problem. But it's that learning, and it is all those mistakes along the way that have gotten me here. So I don't know that there's anything I would have done differently. Yeah, I would have loved to have done it faster. But interesting, as a single parent, my beginning years were slower because I chose to spend more time with Boy Scouts. The moms had to get involved. I thought the guys would do it all. With, reading at school, things like that. So my career trajectory was not as fast as some of my colleagues, but that's part of what I love about the industry for women is we can do it differently. And there's nobody that can say I wasn't really successful. It just took longer. Yeah. So I don't regret it. I just think it's where I am now. Yeah.
Maybe that's the way things happened because that's the way they were supposed to happen for you.
Yeah.
I like that idea. And I too have spent my share of time making those Pinewood Derby cars.
Oh, really? Oh my gosh. I said, my idea of camping is a hotel that doesn't have room service. What am I doing here? Anyway,
I know.
but one of my team members who I've had for 26 years was somebody I met camping in the dirt with the boys. If somebody will camp in the dirt with their kids, they're pretty cool. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you could high five yourself, go back, Colleen, and high five yourself for one financial decision, good job, what would that be?
And this is an interesting one. I had made some money, and I was in Neiman Marcus, which is our Dallas flagship store, and I saw this bracelet, and I'm like, I deserve it. I've earned it. But I hadn't put it in my plan. But I bought it. But I never felt really good about buying it. And a week later, I gave it back. I took it back to the store. It was really, really hard. My pride was really wounded. I knew the salesperson was going to lose their commission. I'm in this beautiful store and I'm taking it back. But I did it, and I was really proud of myself for doing it. I think we all, make snap decisions. I was able to take that one back, and I put the money where it was supposed to be in the plan to my son's college fund. Mm-hmm. Here's an interesting thing about that, because I think when we do really hard things, at some point in time, whether it's universe, whatever you call, higher spirit, whatever. I started dating my husband when my son was in college. His wife had passed away. We need to make sure everybody has life insurance. Average age of a widow is like 56 in the U.S. and Canada. We've got to remember that's a big, important part of the plan. Anyway, side note of one of my passions. But like a year into the relationship, he bought me a present and I opened it and I just started sobbing. And he was like, what is your problem?
Oh no, I thought you would like this gift, right? You can imagine what's
like this gift. And it is the exact bracelet that I took back, doubled the size. Oh. How is that for wild?
Yeah.
I just knew that he had heard the story, or he's like, what are you talking about? So I do think, that high five for doing something really hard. And I know it's usually about investing in something or doing something, but I think also running with your plan is a good high five, whether it's just a regular, consistency, like you said. Sometimes we don't give ourselves the high five for consistency.
Yeah. Like I saved this month and last month and the month before and the month before that. Like that, we should be throwing parties, like little mini parties in our brain. Yay! Yeah. You stayed on track.
Yeah, and we should be throwing those parties with our clients for doing that.
Yeah, right? Yeah. It's hard, isn't it? It's hard for us. It's hard for them. It's making those consistently good decisions, especially when the payoff or the reward is like, retirement. Like some of our clients have like 20, 30 years before they're going to, look back and say, oh, I'm so glad I did that. It's hard. It's to do that day in and day out. And I agree. There should be more parties in finance.
There should be more parties. We had a page in our plan that said benefits realized from our work together. And some of those things were added in. Mm-hmm. Like, out of the last year, 11 months, you hit your target on this. For your wellness goal, you did this. For travel, you did. Those things are, I know people talk about return on investment, but it's really return on involvement. Mm-hmm. Return on involvement with the human side.
Yeah. So, and I was just talking to someone today where I said, I can't tell you the number of times that I've heard we retired and my spouse died. We retired and I got cancer. We retired and, and I just think there is a place in those financial plans for living a well-lived, happy life and still meeting your goals. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
It is enjoying, every day. With my dad dying when I was 16, my husband's wife passing away in her early 40s, which was how old he was. I've lived a lot of being joyful in the day because we just don't know.
Yeah. We don't know. Exactly.
Yeah. So lovely. Great idea. Put it in the plan.
I know, exactly. What scared you the most? Did anything scare you when you started on this journey? And does it still scare you?
You know what? I think the biggest scariness, I didn't really realize I was going into business for myself, so that was kind of dumb. But I think the biggest scariness happened when I hired people, and each time I hired people, because I realized I had another investment in myself and in the firm. But every January, there's this thing called January depression with entrepreneurs because we start all over again, right? We have these families' lives on our team that we have payroll for, the building, the whatever. Most of that, though, is the people's lives. So that was really scary. That was really scary. And if anybody says it's not, I don't know how they do it. But what I did learn September 11th, when I was in the business and there was no business being done, it was like, just get out from under your desk and go talk to people. I learned then that the people who had the most confidence were ones who had cash, for ones that had the expenses for their business for the year. And I started saving, and I saved expenses for my business for the year and expenses for personal for the year. And I keep 18 months to 2 years, and I keep it in places that are accessible, not stupid. But I've had a lot of financial advisors say that's just stupid. And I'm like, yeah. But I went through through September 11th, and I went through 2008, 2009. 2008, 2009, we doubled, tripled, quadrupled those because we had confidence. We had cash in the bank. Everybody was going to get paid, where there was other financial planning practices where they were laying people off, other people that weren't able to pay their own expenses. We were able to go add value to people who were really scared. And I think that was a big thing. So I definitely keep it now. So no, I'm not worried about it anymore. But I was very afraid for a good 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Where you're looking at how are we I'm responsible for people's lives and livelihoods. I want to make sure that I'm not putting myself or my business in a situation where that could come into question.
Right.
Yeah, I love that. I actually think way more people should love that.
Well, it is, we call it an emergency fund, but I also call it a readiness fund. We call it readiness mindset in our assessments because it is ready for the proverbial, shit to hit the fan. But it's also an opportunity fund that, when the proverbial shit hits the fan, there are opportunities to buy. There are opportunities to bring really good people on board your team. There are opportunities to onboard new clients, which makes you got to have this or that, or there's opportunities to buy businesses or, whatever. So it's not just an emergency fund. It's really a readiness fund.
Oh, I love that idea. An opportunity fund. I'm going to steal that. I actually am.
Please do, Lorie.
I love that idea. So this is a question I always ask everyone. And if you were working in finance on September 11th, was that 2001?
2001.
Yeah. Then you are on the old guard. You are on...
30 years I've been in the industry, since 1991.
Yeah, you will probably answer this question in the affirmative, but did you face any unique challenges because you were a woman?
Yeah, and we don't need to discuss that. We kind of already did. A single mom, 15% women, now only 20. But I really want everybody to hear it is such an incredible industry for women. I had a colleague of mine that had 2 sons that worked 15 hours a week and then came back after they were in maybe 15 fifth and sixth grade and then put it really into gear and had learned so much all that time. I mean, we all can do things differently. So, I just don't want to stay there with the challenges women face, because there are a lot.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of opportunity as well.
There is, for sure. What, maybe a different question, or a better question that I kind of want the answer to, is how did you, after going through those years of 15% women in the business, like how did you run your business or change your life so that you could make women feel kind of more inclusive or make it a better environment for them?
I would answer any email, answer any phone call. I would meet with people. I would mentor people. I still do. So anybody listening, they want to talk to me, just get on my calendar. I do think it's a great industry for women. I've done, college events and things like that. But I think my greatest impact has been talking with people one-on-one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. And I love that you highlight it, because it's one of my big things too, is I feel like there should be more women in finance. I think that we've got a voice. I think that more women as clients are finding their voice financially. And I think that women, like you mentioned, like it's flexible. Financial services is a little bit flexible. So you can make the kids' important events and still be kick-ass financial planner, right?
Oh, absolutely. Especially with all the technology we have now. I did it and I didn't have half this technology. I'd be bringing client files home. I didn't need weights. I had client files.
So you're like doing your weightlifting with paper.
Do after my son went to bed or in the morning before he woke up, right? Now we have a whole bunch. Now sometimes moms are too connected. That's usually my...
Yeah, we do. There is a hard time to find that balance, for sure.
Yeah.
Colleen, what is the thing you are most proud of?
Raising my son. I think that, easy. Mm-hmm. And second would be building the businesses where we employed people, we impacted lives there, we impacted lives with our clients. So many things, just like you have. I mean, the stories and the little gifts or the books or the picture, whatever, all the things that they would share with us. When one of my clients got breast cancer, I get flowers that says, "It's because of you. I'm not worried about the money." Thanks. It took one big thing off my plate. I mean, those kind of things you can't.
They're priceless, aren't they?
Yeah, they are priceless.
And watching that money mindset, that planning, and watching how they have the fruits of that plan, how they live, and then watching them pass that down to their kids and their grandkids, honestly, is priceless. Don't you think?
It is. It is living legacy. That's what we do. We do living legacy. If we do our job well, it's a living legacy. And I have just like so many stories, but
I know. Don't get us started, huh?
We won't. Yeah.
Any advice for a young lady who's kind of just starting out on her journey that you're already so successful at? Is there any advice that you would give her? I would probably say, as soon as you can, don't do it all yourself. And that's probably sooner than we think. Hire a part-time virtual assistant, hire somebody to help clean at the house, hire somebody. I was still mowing my own yard when, so that was some of the housekeeping and yard stuff were some of the first things that I hired out. Don't do it yourself. When you start in the industry, you don't have the knowledge to really, I started with people's $2,000 IRAs, right? As soon as I started collaborating with other advisors, I would say, Lorie, you are an expert in insurance, whatever. Will you come meet with this client with me? I'll give you 50% of the case. Or however it is, I learned so much by partnering with people. And what I learned was I was really good in asking questions and knowing generally. I was a great quarterback. And there were people who are just fabulous on the investment that you can't ask the questions. So they would bring me in, I would bring them in. So that would be the other thing, is collaborate. Delegate number one as soon as you can. Collaborate number two. Find a mentor.
and enjoy the journey, because it's going to be, you're putting in the time. You might as well have fun with it and enjoy the clients and the teams and the industry and all the learning.
Oh, yeah. That's the thing I love the most about this industry is just how much you can learn and how many different people you can learn it from. Like you're always going to find somebody who's smarter or doing it better than you. Like absorb that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
No, absorb it, learn from it, share. I mean, 50% of something or whatever, however it goes, is much better than nothing. And do your clients the service of bringing in the wisdom. I could sell all day around somebody that says, I have an advisor that does everything. They do life insurance. They do advanced estate planning. They do long-term care. They do disability. They do my investment. I'm like, can't. What happens if they get hit by a truck?
Yeah.
I got a lot of business that way.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, thank you so much for spending some time with us, Colleen. I really appreciated hearing your story and your journey. If I do have a young lady who's like, ooh, I want to know more, how do they get in touch with you?
Well, if any of it resonates, I'd love to talk with anyone, a quick 15-minute conversation. I can give it to you in the show notes. You can have that information. You can meet up with me on LinkedIn. It's just Colleen Bowler. Or send me an email or go to our website, thepassportpackage.com. Anyway, happy.
Oh, perfect. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And I appreciate I just feel like there's a lot of synergy between the two of us, like wanting to bring more women into finance and kind of just having this experience where our clients feel seen and heard and wanting to ask questions, be curious. I love that. I love that I found a like-minded person. It's so exciting for me.
Yes. It's very, very exciting.
So,
thanks, Lorie, so much.
Thank you. Thank you for doing this.